For the first 7 months of 2022, Super Smash Bros. Melee was without its Captain Falcon prodigy, Wizzrobe. Though that span may seem brief in a lifetime, returning from a hiatus is a daunting task in Melee. Will you be as cracked as you once were? If your skills did decline, how long will you have to practice before you are as good as you once were? And what if new threats appeared that you have yet to adapt to? For some, these questions are enough to never turn on their GameCubes again. But Melee has never been without its surprises, nor without its wildcard winners. There was Crush, there's Coldball in a Blue Moon, and there's players like Ben or Bobby Big Balls who could make a huge run or even win a tournament on the right day.
Hey, I like you so much, man. I think you're funny. I like your ultimate. But hey, man, you just got farmed, bro. Like, you got to step it up, bro, because I'm going to keep down there on you. And, like, you can't be losing to Bobby Big Balls, bro.
But there's never quite been such an established player to take the crown of the wildcard, such as Wizzy. Wizzrobe has consistently been a top 10 caliber player for the last few years, being the first solo Captain Falcon in 14 years to win a major. He can beat just about anybody, though he can still struggle at times versus Falco and Sheik. But given that Wizzrobe is a multi-game aficionado, his attendance can at times be sporadic, so you'll never really know how in form he is when he does appear in bracket. If you look at the 2022 MPGR, you might be confused as there's no Wizzy to be found. For the first half of the year, Wizzrobe was on hiatus for personal reasons, making him unrankable for the first MPGR since 2019. But fear not, Wizzy fans. As of July of this year, Wizzrobe's back and wilder of a card than ever, because now that he is back, all anyone wants to know is that first, potentially ego-shattering question. Well, is he still good? So before we see Wizzy on the stage at the Ludwig Invitational this weekend or at Smash Summit 14, which is just 2 weeks away, let's take a look at Wizzy's tournament appearances following his return. Wizzrobe's return event would be July's Smash Factor 9 in Mexico. You can assume the nerves of returning would be almost insurmountable for most. But Wizzy? He went full Super Saiyan. Both in appearance, but most importantly, in his play. Wizzy dominated Mexico's Premier National, only dropping one set of 13 on his way to netting first place, while taking out some notable names en route. Smash Factor 9 presented fierce international challengers, such as JCam, Far, Chape, and Eddie Mexico to Wizzrobe, but none could prevail against the sheer force and reaction time of their opponent. Looking at the bracket, Wizzy ran through his matches without dropping a single game until winners finals against Eddie Mexico. In Grand Finals, Meds managed to reset the bracket on Wizzy after a 3-1 win, but sadly fell 3-2 in the reset.
And the neutral air off stage.
Meds.
Can he get the stock though?
Meds.
Yes, gets it back air, yes. That's two, baby. Grass transformation now coming through.
Now let's see if he messes this.
Oh, but the grab and the knee, that's gonna be it. Wizzrobe gets the win.
Despite losing the first set against the formidable Meds, Wizzy won the bracket and the tournament, with both Meds and Wizzrobe earning their qualifying spots in this December's upcoming Panda Cup finale. After taking a shorter break between tournaments, Wizzy's next stop would be Texas's Lost Tech City. With one Falcon-filled bracket at LTC, Wizzy ended up taking 5th after taking out Salt 3-2 in Losers Top 8 Round 1 and losing to HBox in the following round. One of the few players in today's field that can make Hungrybox sweat, Wizzy wasn't able to pull through with a victory on the legendary Puff player this time around. The set culminated in a 2-2 count with the final game taking place on Final Destination. After an arduous battle, Hungrybox found himself up 2 stocks to 1 against Wizzy, and proceeded to land a powerful rest combo to seal the game count to 3-2 and knock Wizzy out of the tournament at 5th. A solid finish for a player's return to a major. Shortly after LTC, and most recently, Wizzrobe would arrive on the scene again for a charity event in support of Movember put on by Optic, the off-season. The off-season featured 8 invited players, including Wizzrobe, as well as an open bracket for the other 8 qualifying spots in a 16-man bracket. In addition to the bracket, the event also included sideshows such as a Captain Falcon crew battle, which we'll touch more on later. Wizzy had another steady performance at the off-season, netting another 5th place finish after losing to Amsa, whose Yoshi is notably huge right now, in a close 3-2, and Axe, who is now up in sets versus Wizzy. Wizzy ended up being eliminated by the unorthodox duo of Amsa and Pikachu, even though he took out Axe 3-2 in the show match.
That weird, no knee, or no double knee, I should say. Hang on. Oh! That is it. Oh my goodness. Axe DIing in on the up air.
While Wizzrobe was strong in bracket at the off-season, it would be during the Captain Falcon crew battle that we would really see his Falcon fly. Taking an astonishing 13 stocks in the crew match, Wizzy's crew battle performance was reminiscent of Mewtwo incredible 16 stock performance back in 2007 at Zero Challenge 3. Once S2J beat Axe in the first game of the crew battle, the Wizzy showcase began. First, Wizzy cleaned up Axe's work and beat S2J. Then, for the first time, we saw Jmook versus Wizzrobe. And a Captain Falcon ditto. Unfortunately for those fearful of Jmook's raw talent, he did manage to take a stock from the Captain Falcon machine before being knocked out.
You tried to grind me.
Yeah.
Snake, it's better to go second.
Nah, yeah, Snake go low key.
Let's go, Wizzy!
Next, Wizzy finally changed colors to represent Team Toph properly while he faced off against Batman. The Dark Knight managed to give Wizzrobe a run for his money. Ultimately, Lucky would get a little hug-hungry, opting for a double hug that led to an SD. Then they were sent to the pit, and with one stock left and a grin on his face, Wizzrobe bested Lucky.
Please. Oh my god! One time! What did I tell you? No!
Bobby Big Balls, also coming in with a huge grin, knew he had to only take one stock.
Bobby, please!
That's also a really bad sign.
Bobby, please, just one. Just one. I know you got it in you.
The biggest balls we've ever seen on the
The
main
biggest
stage.
we've ever. We
Oh,
need
he
him.
went, yo, you can't go Falco, my guy.
We need him to grow
Let
two
him go, let him
sides.
go, Falco. Let him go, Falco. Come on, please.
It looked like he might not make it at first, but after losing 2 stocks, Bobby finally got a hold of Wizzy, ending this iconic 13 stock run.
Bobby Big Balls.
Oh,
Bobby,
wait a minute.
Bobby.
Then please. Bobby, so
That is a way to end it. That is how you do a new style.
Stop when he
Yes.
went down.
For a moment, it seemed that Team Vish just might prevail, with Assault still in the chamber. It would be no easy feat though, as Team Toph still had 3 players left. After Bobby succumbed to Spud, Salt was in, and their run was almost as impressive as Wizzrobe's, moving through Spud and Ginger, but coming out with just 1 stock left. Unfortunately for Salt, their 10 stock run wouldn't be enough. Team Toph still had a full health none, so it would ultimately be Vish who would be getting slimed on stage. So, to answer our question at the start, yeah, Wizzy's really good. But not only that, given the current meta that's more focused on Zane, Hungrybox, and Jmook as opposed to the more classically spacey-dominated eras, Wizzrobe's wildcard potential just might be at its greatest. He's still up in sets versus Zane, and only as of LTC is down by 1 set to Hungrybox. And we saw how close that set was. Historically, Wizzrobe is up versus Amsa, however Amsa, who's more than earned a deep dive on his performance this year, most recently had Wizzy's number at LTC. All we need to see now is an official Wizzrobe vs Jmook meeting to really settle the score of Melee in 2022. Between the recent rise of Salt these last 2 years, S2J's string of solid performances this year, and Wizzy's return to the game, Captain Falcon fans are well fed. Though, they're also kinda getting fed to Jmook at the moment. Will Wizzrobe be the Falcon to beat the new hotness? With the Ludwig Invitational in front of us, it seems out of any player coming this weekend, Wizzy is a wildcard for what his performance may be. Given the landscape of the tournaments he's attended and the placements he's achieved, it's highly likely that we'll be seeing Wizzrobe in the top 8 bracket of this event. So how high do you see this Falcon flying? Let us know in the comments and be sure to tune into PGstats for more modern Melee content.